Hey, everybody, welcome back to Silver and Black today. Happy Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, whenever you're listening to us. To you and yours, we appreciate you being with us. We are an Odyssey Sports original podcast covering the Las Vegas Raiders, also heard on 101.5 K-Dawn in Las Vegas, as well as the Bet Las Vegas HD2, both Odyssey stations. Do us a favor, subscribe wherever you get your audio. You can also listen to the show live on the radio using the free Odyssey app. Don't forget to rate and review the podcast and the show wherever you can. We appreciate that. If you're watching us on video, whether it's YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, wherever it is, give us that thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notifications bell so you know when we have new videos. Well, Raider Nation, it's football season officially. Rookies report today in Henderson to the Raiders training camp, and we're here to talk about it. We're here to get back into the football season. I am Scott Gulbransen, along with my partner here, Mr. Moton. He's a senior NFL writer at Bleacher Report. Follow him on x.com at Moton, Moemoton. I am at LV Gully, the show SNB today. Mo, here we go, man. You ready? We're starting this long run of an NFL season, but a lot of people, a lot of excitement around this Raiders team, new coaching staff, new front office, and some exciting new players.
Next phase of the offseason where it gets quote unquote real somewhat. with padded practices, so we'll see if some of the hype and some of the buzz that we've heard over the spring translates to the summer when it starts to count, when the depth chart is starting to get made. Now we usually know who, for the most part, the top 47, 48 spots are solidified. It's those last 5 roster spots that players are battling for, and of course with the Raiders there are several, I should say multiple positions up for grabs, starting roles up for grabs. So we'll see who wins those position battles.
Yeah, no question. And I think that's what we want to get into today. We're going to talk about this Raiders rookie class, some expectation. Mo and I both wrote pieces this week. It happens on sportsnot.com, by the way, about the rookie class and about what to expect. Then in the second segment, we're going to get into 3 things that could make or break the Raiders season. Another pen job by Mr. Moton. We're going to talk about that one too. Great subject to discuss as you start to think about expectations around this team and whatnot. In the third segment, of course, we'll get some phone calls as much as time allows. So we thank you for that. If you want to be part of the show, 702-900-7869 is the number. We certainly appreciate it. Mo, I'll tell you, so we got rookies coming into camp today. Obviously, we're starting to see the NFL that happen all over the place. But the Raiders, I mean, we look at this rookie class, and of course, at the top of it is Ashton Jeanty, the running back. I'm still surprised seeing a lot of people, and this isn't, I don't mean to start on a negative note here, but a lot of people still saying that it was a mistake for the Raiders to take Ashton Jeanty at number 6. You don't take a running back that high anymore. Well, boy, if Saquon Barkley came out this year, would people take him knowing what he's been able to do? Is one of my questions. The second thing is I was on Sirius XM radio yesterday with Carrington Harrison, our good friend in Kansas City, and he loved the pick. And he's like, "What? What was it a bad pick?" I'm like, "No, they were last in rushing in the NFL last season." And the debate over whether you pick a player that high at running back position, I don't know. I remember 2 years ago when running backs were getting cut left and right, and people were just screaming about how running backs were under-respected. And now you get one come out who's a true gem, and people are still critical.
You can't win either way. When it comes to everyone is different. I saw one media outlet say that they didn't like the Ashton Jeanty pick because of the state of the Raiders offensive line. Now, PFF says that the Raiders offensive line is improved.
Right.
Now, there are mixed reactions because you got Alex Capel, who seems like he's the front runner at right guard, and a lot of fans are uneasy about that. DJ Glaze is still a question mark. I've been labeled a DJ Glaze hater. That's fine. I'm just saying he has to prove it. 51 pressures allowed last year didn't do enough for me as a rookie. Maybe he does improve, maybe he doesn't, but I'm not sold on him yet. But I do like the Colton Miller, assuming there's no contractual issues there.
Yeah.
And Jackson Powers-Johnson combination from center to left. Now we'll see who's the left guard, but a lot of people have their opinions for whatever reason about the running back position and the Raiders taking Ashton Jeanty. I didn't have a problem with it. Of course, I thought they would go offensive line. Simply because of the way John Spytek talked about how the Eagles built their football team. Now the Eagles obviously signed Saquon Barkley and he put him over the top, so it makes sense. But no issues with Ashton Jeanty at all. It works if the parts around him also do their job and optimize his talent.
Sure. I mean, and I think that goes for any position too, right? But you look at the situation too, Mo. Look at Chip Kelly's offense. I think if you look at an Ashton Jeanty and what he's able to do, not only running the ball, but what he's able to do out of the backfield, the fact that he doesn't turn the ball over, that fits nicely. So I think a lot of the people who are maybe criticizing the pick forget about how this offense is going to roll the other pieces like Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer and Jacoby Myers. Now, there's some question at wide receiver, which we'll get to a little bit later. But when you look at the situation with the offense, I think that even more solidifies why it was a good pick for the Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, again, no issues at all with the pick. Because one, it fits a need. You don't draft for need specifically, but one, it fits a need. But two, as people say, was he the best player available on the board? And you can make that argument that he was at the time at 6. So the way Pete Carroll loves to run his teams, the way Chip Kelly has designed offenses since he's been in college, it makes sense for the Raiders. And again, hopefully it works out. But the parts around him also have to do their jobs as well.
All right, Mo. So we talked about Jeanty, and since we've both written a piece this week on the rookies here, give me another rookie here that you want to talk to. We talked about Ashton Jeanty. Let's stay on the offense. Give me an offensive rookie that you're watching as we enter camp.
Well, I'll start here. Jack Bech has to, now there's a contract issue there as well. He hasn't signed his rookie deal yet. The Houston Texans signed Jaden Higgins, a wide receiver, to a fully guaranteed contract, so kind of threw off some of the second rounders. A lot of there are multiple second rounders who aren't signed yet. I assume that's going to get ironed out. If you're a rookie, you have to be at training camp if you want to play early in your career, because missing training camp or even a portion of training camp could set you back. So I assume that's going to get handled. But Jack Bech, the second round pick, is he going to have a big role, or is it going to be Dante Thornton? Now you said one rookie wide receiver, but I believe that's a battle to watch. It's an interesting battle because it's a battle between two rookies and Trey Tucker, who's going into his third year. So with those three guys in the mix, who's going to get that wide receiver 2 spot? But I think a lot of people assumed it was going to be Jack Bech because he is the second round pick. But Dante Thornton seemed to have the more standout, had more shine during the spring. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out.
Yeah, both those guys, and I wrote about the same thing, Mo, which was both those guys competing for that number 2 spot alongside Jacoby Myers, and you have Tucker, who's played in the slot, and he's just not been able to cement that role there too. So there's a lot going on, but those two guys are going to be fun to watch. And I think you're right. I think Thornton, obviously coming out of minicamp, the impression he made on everyone was so big. He was the talk of camp. That's happened before and can subside very quickly, by the way. But what would be great for the Raiders here is if this competition is the kind of competition that comes down to like the last preseason game, right? I mean, you want this to go on. You want both these guys, a second and a fourth rounder, to be really good options, because then a lot of the question marks you have on that other side at wide receiver, and just pure depth as well, it just allows Chip Kelly, Pete Carroll to do more on that offense. So these two rookies, to me, are going to be interesting to watch. Then on the defensive side of the ball, a guy I know you and I have talked about before, and that's Darien Porter, right? So you look at that cornerback spot, there's some inexperience there, or I should say some experience with Bennett and so on. But I think that even though they signed Eric Stokes, this kid, I think, has an opportunity to come in and make an impact right away. And frankly, I think can get that role if he comes into camp, really shows out quickly.
The quintessential Pete Carroll cornerback.
Yes.
6'2", 195 with 33 and I believe a quarter or a half inch arm.
Mm-hmm.
He's been taking most of the first team reps on the outside with Eric Stokes. So it seems like for right now, he is the front runner. But Jacorian Bennett's going to have something to say about this because Jacorian Bennett, coming off of a torn labrum, has practiced with the second team defense. So if Jacorian Bennett does eventually take one of those starting spots, who takes the back seat? Is it Eric Stokes, who had a good rookie year in, I believe, 2021, but has been banged up? Or is it Darien Porter, who only has 1 year of collegiate starting experience, transitioning from wide receiver to cornerback, a bit raw, a bit green, but has high potential? So we'll see how that shakes out between those three. Two of those three guys are going to probably start. I think the Cameron Rich is going to probably be a backup.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And Mo, what about up front now? We know, and we're going to talk about the make or break stuff, which will include Christian Wilkins and his status. And that's obviously one of the big questions going into camp as well, is where is Christian Wilkins? How quickly can he get back? He's not going to start camp on the field from any indication that we have, clearly. So you look at it and you say, out of the young rookies that are coming in that play up front there, who could perhaps maybe lighten the load or the worry for the Raiders defense and Patrick Graham if Christian Wilkins is an extended absentee from camp and then maybe even into the regular season?
Now, a lot of people are going to say Tonka Hemingway because he was the 4th round pick.
Yeah.
But I think JJ Pegues is more your prototypical defensive tackle, 3 technique, simply because he's, over 300 pounds, listed at 309, 6'2", 309. Tonka Hemingway, more of a tweener type. We'll see what his weight body type is when he gets to camp. But Tonka Hemingway, 6'2", about 2'7", in the 270s. And lined up all over the line at South Carolina. He wasn't just pigeonholed as a defensive tackle. He lined up on the outside as well. So he's more of a Tyree Wilson type of player in terms of his size. Tyree Wilson taller. But in terms of his weight, can he hold? I don't think he can hold up full-time on the interior at his size. Where JJ Pegues is a pretty good run defender coming out of Ole Miss. And he's athletic. So you get the size and you get the athleticism combination. JJ Pegues could wind up having a big role if Christian Wilkins is out for an extended period of time.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to be fun to watch those young guys because if one can break through, even if Christian Wilkins comes back relatively, I use the word relatively, folks, soon, to have one of those guys pop in training camp and show something and then go into the the preseason and really play well in live action will be massive, I think, for this defense and where they're at, clearly. So we'll see how it goes. Now, earlier, Mo, you mentioned, with a couple of minutes we have left, I want to talk about Colton Miller. We talked about the Colton Miller contract situation. It seems to be one of those where they're talking, things are moving along, and they're kind of waiting for things to coalesce or to come to fruition. At what point, and I asked you this a couple of years ago with some other guys on this team, at what point do fans get concerned, or should we get concerned about Colton, not hearing about a Colton Miller deal?
I think if you don't hear anything by the 49ers joint practice, the Raiders and 49ers have a joint practice scheduled.
The 14th. Yeah.
If it doesn't happen by then you start to get concerned because you want your left tackle out there for those joint practices to simulate in that offensive line and protect Geno Smith. So you want to have your offensive line pretty much solidified together, especially your offensive lineman who's the elder statesman of the group, who has the longest tenure there. You want him to be present. So I would say by mid-August, if nothing gets done, then you start to you get a little jittery, you get a little anxiety for, okay, when is this going to get done? Is it going to get done?
Yeah, and that's exactly, the 14th is exactly 30 days before the start, or just around 30 days before the start of the regular season. So then that's when you get concerned too, because you want the guy in there getting work done, getting his work in, I should say. So we'll see how it goes. The other thing too that's interesting that I was asked when I did that interview on SiriusXM was about what is the mood around Raiders? Like what's the culture they're building there? And obviously I'm not in the building like so many of the friends that we have that cover the team every day there in Henderson, but I pointed to Pete Carroll's unbridled enthusiasm. And I think camp, there's always rah-rah at camp, no question about that. But I'm interested to see that, Mo. We got about a minute left, but I think people are going to fall in love with that. And this positive attitude you see from Raider fans is going to continue because Pete Carroll's got that energy, and I think that energy is what's going to set the stage for that culture building, for the jump off, and what you look in going into here during training camp.
I said it when they hired Pete Carroll that he brings the energy and enthusiasm that Antonio Pierce brought that so many people liked. Now, of course, Antonio Pierce grew up a Raider fan, so it's a little different for him. But he brings that energy and that passion along with the experience. And I think with the experience he has is going to make a whole lot of difference once the Raiders hit the practice field and prepare for it as they start to prepare for week 1 in the opening of the season.
Yes, well put. All right. Well, we are against our first break here on Silver and Black today. When we come back, we're going to talk about 3 things Nostradamus thinks could make or break the Las Vegas Raiders 2025 season. Do you think you know what they are? Well, you don't need to wait that long. When we come back after the break, you're going to hear them here on Silver and Black today. Heard on the radio in Las Vegas on 101.5 KDON and the Bet Las Vegas. Also, an Odyssey Sports original podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. We're coming back right after these words. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Segment number 2 here. Silver and Black today. Odyssey Sports original podcast covering the Raiders. Also heard on 101.5 KDON in Las Vegas and the Bet Las Vegas. Hello, and thanks for listening to our Friday night audience in Las Vegas. Guys, appreciate you guys tuning in on the radio in the City of Lights in the Mojave. Appreciate it, guys. We are back. Scott Gulbransen, Moton. We are talking Raiders camp. Yes, it started today on Thursday. The rookies are in there. The veterans rolling in a few days. Next week. So gosh, it's already football season. I know, I can't wait. Mo, by the way, I sent you a picture of my mustard-only hot dog during the Major League Baseball All-Star game on Tuesday, which, by the way, I got to ask you this before you get into my hot dog choices. How did you feel about the ending of the All-Star game in that new format?
The swing off, home run swing off. I have no issue with it. You know, if you go on social media, everyone likes to complain about things. But no issue with it at all. I mean, when you think about the Major League Baseball All-Star week stretch, I was almost saying weekend, thinking NBA, right? But what does everyone talk about leading into it? They talk about the home run derby, right?
Right.
So, I mean, no issue with it. I think the fair criticism is some people wanted to see 2 different players in the swing off.
Yes.
I get that, but the format I'm fine with.
Yeah. And Schwarber, the Cincinnati kid, by the way, look, baseball, I'm very critical of baseball. I know this is a football show. We'll get back to Raider football, I swear. I'm very critical of how Major League Baseball does such a poor job of marketing its stars and its sport. But I give them, to your point, it didn't bother me. I'm a traditionalist when it comes to baseball. So I like to see them just slug it out. But I understand you got the second half of the season. These guys got to get back to their teams. So I give them an A+ for creativity. Execution, I give them a B+, right? But at least it was exciting. And if you tuned it out, you just missed it all. But I thought it was different. And they're trying to switch things up. Some things work, some things don't. They could learn a lot from the NFL, so hopefully they'll do that. By the way, I suggest you listen to Big League Buzz, baseball podcast I do for Sportsnaut. We talked about the situation with salary cap in baseball. Go take a listen for it. You can find it wherever you get your audio. All right, we're getting back to Raider football. Now, Mo, you wrote another piece on Sportsnaut.com, 3 key factors that'll make or break the Raiders season. And this is a really good one. You'll see it linked in the description below. But I look at this one, and it's something I mentioned in the first segment. I want to start off with this because, again, when you write pieces like this and you're a sports journalist like you are, some people read it, whoa, and they get upset about, well, 3 things. That doesn't mean there could be a lot of other things that go well, blah, blah, blah. But these are 3 things that I think 3 key issues that this team needs to address during training camp. Doesn't mean they won't, right? And I'll let you talk about it a little bit. But the first thing we talked about in segment number 1 was Christian Wilkins and his health. And this is a big deal because not only missing him, not having him back and the talent that he has after they signed that big contract and he got hurt on celebrating a play, but who's going to fill in for him is this big issue. Talk about Christian Wilkins, what he means to that defensive front, if healthy, overcoming the Jones fracture. and what it means if he's not there.
So if he's healthy, the Raiders finally get to see. Now, we got to see it for 5 games last year, Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby. If he's healthy, you get to see that defensive line basically in full strength, interior to the perimeter, between Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby, and then Malcolm Kuntz coming back, who missed the entire 2024 season. You get to see those 3 guys all on the field at the same time, which is what a lot of fans have been waiting for. Because with those 3 guys on the field all at the same time and Tyree Wilson improving, you're assuming that the defensive line could be pretty good. Could be one of the best defensive lines in the league. Now, without him, you're searching for answers for your interior pass rush. Now, Adam Butler is there. But other than Adam Butler, who's going to be on the field for you on the interior of that defensive line? Is Tyree Wilson going to move inside? I had a hot take over at Bleacher Report that said maybe Tyree Wilson bulks up and plays defensive tackle. Lakey Fotu, who they signed, he's more of a run-stopping defensive tackle, nose tackle. Who's going to step into that role? The Raiders are going to have to figure out how they're going to fill that void, whether it's going to be someone in-house, or do they sign someone, or do they wait till the cuts close to 50-man depth chart being made? What do they do if Christian Wilkins is out for an extended period of time is the big question.
Yeah, I think people get flashbacks of Cleve Farrell when you say moving Tyree Wilson to tackle, right? And the Raiders have had, obviously, a history of doing that. That would not be good unless he becomes an all-pro there. Then everybody would love it, of course. So would I. But very interesting, and I think that defensive front, this defense, we talk a lot about the things about the offense and how the new quarterback is going to be massively stable there. Again, talking to people around the country who cover the NFL, and they are more bullish on the Raiders and the defense and the offensive changes than even you and I are. Now, I guess we can be the wet towel sometimes, but talking to the guys at Sirius yesterday, they were thinking, hey, I think the Raiders really could win 10 games. And I stuck to my 8 games and said they could win 10. To me, that's the ceiling. But issues like Christian Wilkins, and is that defense going to be at full strength? If it's not, then does one of those rookies step in, or do they convert Wilson, and does he take on that position and do really well? So we'll see. But certainly a key factor, as you dubbed it in your piece. Also, what about the secondary? This is something that even in the doldrums of summer, Mo, we talked about a lot, about the situation at cornerback and what they're going to do there. We talked about Darien Porter, this impressive rookie, in the first segment. But if this doesn't get figured out relatively quickly, and I think this is one of the key areas I'm going to watch along with some of those rookie performances that we talked about in preseason, because they're going to get a lot of action in preseason. And this unit really needs to get together and come into the regular season ready to go.
Your cornerback, along with the safety spot. Remember, Isaiah Pola,
yes,
only won 14 starting games last year. He's been on the practice squad in his first few years with the Raiders, so he also should see the field in the preseason as well, because he is not that experienced. And
Lonnie Johnson Jr. playing safety with Jeremy Chin in the slot. So it kind of goes along with what I said about Christian Wilkins. The Raiders' pass defense in general is a concern for me, because if you don't have your defensive line at full strength, it puts a lot of pressure on your secondary, which is going to have multiple starters with a lack of experience. So you're without one of your better defensive linemen. You have inexperience in the back end. What is the Raiders' pass defense going to look like come week 1 in the opening of the regular season? So if Christian Wilkins is not back, that secondary has to get it together relatively quickly.
Really quick.
They're gonna be tested and they're gonna be targeted.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw it, Mo. The Athletic did their most overrated and underrated teams, and on the underrated side, believe it or not, was the Chargers, because I always feel like they're overrated every year, but they really, because of the running game improvements, of course, the draft, they strengthened themselves there. They got Najee Harris. You have Justin Herbert there. So to your point about the cornerbacks getting it together and pass rush being, they're symbiotic, is the fact that this division, you're talking about having Herbert, Nix could take a step back. We just don't know, right? You see it a lot with sophomores. Sometimes they take a step back. He had a good season, surprising season for the Broncos. And then, of course, you have Mahomes, who they actually consider the Chiefs overrated, which until they don't make the playoffs or beaten early in the playoffs, I'm never going to call them overrated because they keep winning. But it's going to be difficult in this division as well. Now, the Raiders' schedule early on in the season, as we talked about, and we'll do our schedule stuff as we get towards the end of the preseason, the schedule is a lot more favorable at the beginning of the season, and then you roll into the more difficult parts of the schedule, including the division schedule. And so, boy, they got to figure that one out. All right, now, the other one here too, and this is one that is big and we talked about for the last several years, right? Which is how quickly can the unsettled, and I like how you use that word, unsettled offensive line gels. That does not mean they're bad. It just means what is this makeup of this line? Who's going to win out? And Brennan Carroll, I mean, frankly, there's also that, right? As you mentioned, Brennan Carroll, Pete's son, is going to lead this offensive line as the coach. So you have a coach coming in who's unproven in that position, plus you have question marks with some of these players. How quickly are we going to be able to see if this is working?
I would say you give it a month into the season to see where they are. Now, of course, you want to see it click right away, obviously. And this is why I said it's important to have Colton Miller on the field and ready to practice, because he's been there. He can kind of help some of the young guys along. While we all like what Jackson Powers-Johnson brings to the line, having Colton Miller with that experience can help younger guys like Jackson Powers-Johnson, DJ Glaze, who's on the opposite side at right tackle. And whoever wins the left guard position next to Colton Miller is going to benefit from having him on that side of the line. So you want to have that offensive line on the field together as much as possible in the offseason before the regular season, because they have to build that chemistry. It's a 5-man unit. It's one heartbeat, so to speak. But you want them to gel relatively quickly. But I would say you give it through September to see what the line looks like. How's the pass protection? How's the run blocking? If you need to make any tweaks by October, then you make those tweaks. But for the most part, you want your best 5 guys on the field as much as possible in the summertime.
Well, what about, and nobody's mentioned this because it is a light years worth of upgrades at quarterback, right? I mean, to have Geno Smith there with what the Raiders have gone through over the last several seasons is no doubt. So there's optimism there. There's clearly the recognition that they got significantly better at the position and at head coach, by the way. Head coach, quarterback, that combo is massive. If you look at teams successful around the league, what do you have? Quarterbacks and coaches, right? But there also is the question that I have that could be make or break, I guess, is the fact that Geno Smith is new to the Raiders. He's not new to Pete Carroll, but he's new to the personnel. And that takes some time too. So I think there's going to have to be some grace because these guys aren't going to play in the preseason. And Pete Carroll's hinted that they might play a little bit here and there. But I always kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. But I think once they get to the regular season, I think there's going to have to be some patience with him. And yes, you could use camp to get on the same page with your teammates. But until you're in live action, I think there might be some adjustment period there, don't you?
Could be. But first, I would want to say check on your local Carter Bradley crew reporter out there. Carter Bradley was waived by the Raiders, and there were a lot of fans who were upset by this, including our buddy Murph. So check on Murph if you want. Just make sure he's okay about the Carter Bradley
wellness visit.
But no, yeah, I think with Geno Smith, you worry less about an adjustment because he is a veteran and he's been around the league and he's played with a variety of different receivers. But of course, you have to get the chemistry down, the timing. If you ask any quarterback, wide receiver, what makes a top quarterback wide receiver duo? It's the timing. The quarterback knowing where the wide receiver likes the football. The wide receiver knowing where the quarterback is going to put the football. Those are the things that Geno Smith and his pass catchers are going to have to get used to, particularly Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers, who are going to be his top 2 targets. So if they can get their timing down, again, this goes into joint practices, training camp. I doubt we'll see much of them in the preseason, maybe a quarter, if that. But as long as they're able to get their timing down on where the ball has to be and where the receiver has to be, I wouldn't worry too much about adjustment period. Geno Smith, he's a pro. He knows where to put the football.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing that offense get out there. Now, we won't be able to see the full offense until we get to the regular season in week 1, but it's going to be fun and just excited to see how this all unfolds. Hopefully well for you out in Raider Nation so you don't get negative fast. I need that positive start to that season, right? All right, that's going to do it for this segment Appreciate it. What do you think? What are other key factors you think could make or break this season for the Raiders? Leave it in the comments below, or you can send it to us in your favorite social media channel, whether it's Facebook, whether it's X, doesn't matter. Just let us know. The show is SMB Today. And of course, you can see our titles at the bottom. Also in the listing, if you want to tweet at Mo or I, you can do that as well. We certainly appreciate that. All right, we'll step aside. When we come back, it's time for the Raider Nation Switchboard. We're going to get to your calls today. If you want to be part of the show next time, 702-900-7869. That's 702-900-7869. I almost forgot the number. How could I do that right in the middle of repeating it? Well, it happens. Okay, we're going to take a step aside. When we come back, your calls. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody. It is the home stretch here on Silver and Black today, an Odyssey Sports Original podcast covering the NFL's Las Vegas Raiders, who you might have started following when they're the Oakland Raiders or the Los Angeles Raiders or then the Oakland Raiders again, but now they're the Las Vegas Raiders. Okay, we clear on that? Good deal. All right, we're back. It's time for the Raider Nation Switchboard. Thank you to our audience in Las Vegas listening to us on 101.5 KDON and the Bet in Las Vegas. That phone number again, by the way, if you want to call in for next week, 702-900-7869, 702-900-7869 is the number. Mo, let's get to these optimistic callers out there. I love how now every preseason people tend to be more optimistic. There just feels like a fresh new attitude out there, even with fans. Now, there's always going to be the negative ninnies and the rose-colored, silver and black-colored glasses folks out there. They never seem to change. They're always, you could be 0-16 and they're still going to think that everything's awesome. And then there's the people who think that everything sucks all the time, right? And hey, you be you, no problem there. But for everybody else, it just seems like the optimism is really, really exploding out there. And I hope the Raiders deliver for them so that they feel really good about it. But we're going to get to the call. And first, we're going to go out to our buddy Misha in Orange County. We haven't heard from him in a bit. So here's Misha.
Hey, Scott. Hey, Mo. This is Misha calling from Orange County. Been a while. Glad to be back, though. I know you guys have covered some of the free agency stuff recently, but just wanted to follow up on that, especially after hearing Mo mention Mike Hilton, which I 1,000% agree with that. I think the Raiders overall have had a pretty strong offseason. And obviously, we know that there's still a few areas that need attention. Hilton certainly will solve one of those issues, but I kind of wanted to shift to the offensive side. And I'll be honest, I am slightly concerned about the wide receiver room. Aside from, Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers, the group is really young and still developing. And that does give me some pause, especially just considering the importance of supporting Geno Smith. So that brings me to Keenan Allen. There's a connection there with the current wide receiver coach for the Raiders. I forgot his first name, but his last name is DT. And he has that connection with Keenan Allen. And I know the Raiders haven't dismissed the idea of bringing veterans like Hilton and Keenan Allen in. But I'm just curious to hear from you guys. Why do you think they're waiting? Do you think Spytech is being too conservative or being cautious? Is this a financial issue? Are they waiting to evaluate the roster after camp, or do you think they're simply just planning to roll with the younger guy and let them develop? And I promise you, this is not me being critical. I'm just genuinely trying to gain an understanding of what Spytech's vision and Pete Carroll's vision is for the team. So if you guys could provide a little insight, I would love to hear it. So talk to you guys later. Have a good one.
All right, Misha, thanks for the call. Good call. And you know what? Being critical is not a bad thing. Critical is not a negative always. You can be critical with a negative spin, or you can be critical like you're doing, which is just asking questions because, as we talked about in the last segment, the wide receiver room is, and in the rookie segment too, the wide receiver room is not settled. Keenan Allen, tell us your view.
So I like Keenan Allen as an option. I remember when it was talked about Tyler Lockett or Keenan Allen or Amari Cooper. I've always said I didn't think Amari Cooper wanted to be a Raider, just never saw the fit.
Tyler Lockett obviously had a connection with Geno Smith. Keenan Allen plays in the slot. The reason, I'll get to Misha's direct question, what do you think the Raiders are waiting for and why haven't they addressed the position with the youth they have there? And one, I think they want to see what the rookies bring to the table, because let's remember Jack Bech is a second-round pick. Typically, your second-round wide receiver plays right away. That's not a position where you need 3 years typically to see if the player has enough talent to play on the pro level. Usually you could see it right away. Even if he's in a rotational role, you say, okay, he's got the goods to eventually turn into something. And when you use a second-round pick on a wide receiver, you're expecting him to play within that first year. Then you have Dante Thornton, who we talked about in the first segment, was arguably the most impressive rookie in the spring. So you have the buzz around Dante Thornton Jr. You have a second-round pick in Jack Bech. You're hoping at least one of those guys is able to contribute in a significant way. And then you have 3 reliable pass catchers. You have Brock Bowers, the all-pro rookie tight end. Was a rookie, but was an all-pro last year. You have Jacoby Myers, who's a solid veteran, rock solid veteran. And then if either Dante Thornton or Jack Bech are able to see the field a lot, then you have 3 targets. Plus, let's not forget Michael Mayer, right? The Raiders, right, according to Vincent Bonsignore, have no interest in trading Michael Mayer. The Dolphins were interested in him. It seems as though Michael Mayer is going to have a bigger role in his 3rd year. So while he lacks the production, this is going to be his 3rd year. It's going to be a crucial year for him. Don't sleep on Michael Mayer as a 3rd option in this offense if Jack Bech or Dante Thornton aren't able to contribute in a major way.
Yeah, no, exactly. And you know what? I think there's not a hurry as well, because yes, you run the risk of somebody else signing him, but clearly there's not a market clamoring for him. In his position, Keenan Allen is the kind of guy who teams wait on until they get to camp. If they go to the first week of camp and they're really concerned about depth, or if somebody gets hurt, then boom, you'll see him signed. So I think they're being prudent. I think they're being smart. I don't think it's a money issue, but you also want to be smart with your money. You don't want to just start throwing around money and signing players that you don't know if you need yet. So all good. Misha, thanks for the call, man. We appreciate it. All right, now we're going out to Yan Dog is back. Here's Yan Dog.
Hey, Brother Scott, Brother Mo, Yan Dog. First thing I want to say is I'm sorry that I could not find the picture of my painted face at the Bills game. It must have been erased somehow, because it was 3 years ago. But I did send you, or Derek sent you the
picture. Yes,
what the jersey looks like. I wore it. My picture's there on the back, and then the front with the Raiders shorts and everything. But it must have been erased or something. I don't know what happened. I'm going crazy, so I apologize for that. I wish I could have seen that. You guys could have seen that with the paint face. But anyway, I'm sorry about that. But I do have pictures for you. Hopefully you saw them. But it was 3 years ago, and it might have been erased. However, I did get pictures of my jersey. That upset me really bad. But anyway, my top 5 Raider quarterback: Stabler, number 1. I have Stabler, number 1, Plunkett, 2, LaMonica, 3, Gannon, 4, and Derek Carr, 5. Those are my top 5.
That's a good list, Yan Dog. So there you go. I mean,
also,
he's going on.
I have, what I'd like to say, if we could build up an offensive line who can protect Geno Smith, we'll be in decent shape. Also, we need to get some decent cornerbacks. Maybe you might have some idea of who we could get on the offensive line and who we do have. Then I believe we will be a top contender. 11-6. I'm sticking with my prediction. Okay, we have the running backs, we got the tight ends and the receiver. But an 11-6 from a dismal 4-13 would be great for the new regime. And that's that's it, guys. Yan Dog, over and out.
All right, there's Yan Dog. And by the way, we're going to put up now the picture of Yan Dog. There's Yan Dog. There you go. All right, Yan Dog with the jersey. There you go. No face paint. And Mo, I'm wondering, did he lost the picture maybe he's drinking a little bit of the game and he kind of lost. Maybe he thought he took it or didn't take it, or he had it and did. Anyway, yeah, no, we're just giving you grief, man. But good stuff. And yeah, I mean, listen, offense, definitely. Geno Smith is a big deal for this team, and I'm excited to watch him as well. So good call. Yandog, thanks, man. We appreciate it. All right, on to Rob. Here's Rob up in Portland.
Hello, Scott and Mo. This is Rob calling you from beautiful Portland, Oregon. Now, over the past few weeks on your show, I've heard many Raider fans speculating about what they think the win-loss record will be. And usually the fans are very positive and optimistic, thinking that the Raiders got better this offseason. And you and Mo typically counter with other teams got better too. So my question for you is this. Which teams in the NFL got worse this offseason, either through free agents leaving, coaching changes, etc.? I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this. Love the show. By far, the best Raider podcast out there. Thanks so much and have a great day.
There you go. Rob in Portland, man. Thanks. Great question. Mo, I'll start with two teams off the top of my head. The New Orleans Saints and the Cleveland Browns, I think, got much worse. And the Titans, I think, haven't gotten much better either, a team that the Raiders will face this year. What about you?
I'll add, to me, the Browns are just, they were bad last year, they're bad this year. But You're right, dead on about the Saints. They lost Derek Carr. I know Derek Carr, third rail name here, but
they got a rookie quarterback.
Derek Carr to a rookie quarterback or Spencer Rattler to downgrade. I'll add the Seattle Seahawks to this. And I say that because, not just because of the quarterback change going from Geno Smith to Sam Darnold, but Cooper Kupp hasn't been healthy. He's missed at least 5 games over the last 2 years. They have a new offensive coordinator. The offensive line is a big question mark. They have to get that solidified. Sam Darnold is not going to have the same supporting cast he had in Minnesota. He's going to have a lesser offensive line. He's going to have lesser playmakers around him. No Justin Jefferson. Yes, they got Jackson Smith and Jigba, who's up and coming, but Justin Jefferson is an all-pro who won Offensive Player of the Year. So he's not going to have that in Seattle. I think Seattle's going to take a bit of a step back after winning 10 games last year.
Yeah, and I would watch the Bengals because here's the thing with the Bengals. They signed I think they overpaid T. Higgins. I would have let T. Higgins go, by the way. They give T. Higgins the money. They give Jamar Chase the money he deserves. They already gave Burrow his money, okay? Then on the defensive side of the ball, Shamir Stewart, their draft pick, went back to Texas A&M to work out because they still can't agree on a contract. So he's not going to be at camp this week. And then Trey Hendrickson, one of the top 5 defensive ends in football, wants a new deal, which he deserves, and they won't give it to him. If they go into the regular season, because their defense was brutal, they get rid of Adarumo, they bring in Al Golden from Notre Dame, make a couple nice little signings, but that team could be considerably worse on defense, and that was already bad. So we'll see what they're able to do. But good call, Rob. All right, go ahead. Yeah.
Really quick, Detroit Lions, they lost both their coordinators, offensive and defensive coordinators. Aaron Glenn is now in New York. And why am I blinking? Their offensive coordinator now Chicago, Ben Johnson. So their team may be relatively the same, but the play calling is going to be drastically different. They're not going to match their win total from last year when they were number 1 seed.
Yeah, no question. Oh, man, crazy. All right, we're going to sneak in Tarek's call here real quick.
What's up, Scott and Mo? Greetings from Chicago. This is Tarek checking in with you guys. Did enjoy you guys' breakdown of the top 10 Raider quarterbacks of all time. Rookies report in 3 days. Vets report on the 22nd. As I said in a previous call, I've never been, it's been a while since I've been so excited to see Raider rookies, particularly Jeanty, obviously. Bech, Thornton Jr. is really, really intriguing to me. 6'5", 4'3", 40 is just ridiculous. Hopefully that guy has some kind of an impact as a rookie and has a good camp. And I'm also intrigued with Darien Porter, who saw a lot of time with the ones during OTAs and minicamp. I also liked what you said, Mo, about Tyree Wilson with regards to maybe possibly switching him to defensive tackle. You have nothing to lose at this point. I have thrown in the towel on Tyree Wilson. I think he's going to go the way of Cleveland Farrell. Again, different regime drafted him 7th overall, but he's shown really, really minimal progress heading into year 3. I think it's far-fetched that he's going to be have a breakout year and be some breakout candidate. I think he's going to end up elsewhere eventually. I don't think, unless he just really, really cranks it up, I don't think the Raiders.
Oh, Tarek got cut off. Wonder if it's Celsius. Tarek? Man, sorry, buddy. Okay, so we got enough in there, at least from Tarek. We got about a minute left. Mo, what do you think about Tarek's comments about Tyree Wilson and so on?
When Tyree Wilson didn't take hold of the starting job last year after losing Malcolm Kuntz, it just set off a red flag for me. And that was supposed to be the point where he came into the offseason fully healthy. It was his opportunity. And as I said in the previous shows, Caleb Chase in a sense, outplayed him in the second half of the season where Tyree Wilson stepped up and he didn't. Yeah, we'll see. Well, there we go. We got 30 seconds left here on the show, everybody. We appreciate you being with us. Want to remind you, please subscribe wherever you get to the podcast. If you're listening to us on the radio, thank you for doing that in Las Vegas on 101.5 KDON and The Bet. Make sure you follow Mo on X, Mo Moton, Moemoton. Follow his work up on Bleacher Report, where he's a senior NFL writer. Also at sportsnot.com, where you can read my stuff as well. My friend, I know you're going to get some time off. Enjoy, and we'll see you next time. Take care, Scott. Take care, Raider Nation.
All right. For our producer, Mike Robier over at Odyssey, and for our producer in Las Vegas, Mark Bonilla, I'm Scott Gulbransen from Moton. This has been Silver and Black Today. We'll see you guys all next week. Take care, Raider Nation.